There goes live on Facebook.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Well, welcome everyone to Military Mondays. For those who don't know who I am retired Major Brenda Sanchez, and I am the co-founder of Life's Real Currency with my husband, Michael Sanchez. And I bring you these Military Mondays every single Monday morning at 8 a.m. like clockwork, like the military. And so if you are curious about the military, if you are a veteran business owner, or you're in the military, I would love to have you join us here on Military Mondays to get a little bit of education and learn about some really cool veteran business owners. And today I have two people on that I just met within the last week on Facebook, which is really cool. It's great to be able to be connected to fellow veterans and military members across the world through Facebook and that. And Courtney reached out to me because a friend had tagged her or reached out to her about my Military Mondays. So that's what this is all about. So if you get value out of this, please share it with your network so that we can get the word out about more veteran businesses. So without further ado, I want to introduce Courtney and her husband, Alan. They are in Indiana, and they are just some of the co-owners of Hoosier Coffee, Hoosier Warrior Coffee. And so share just a little bit before we get into the coffee. Let's give us a little bit about your background in the military, and then we'll dive right into the coffee and how that got started.
Well, good morning, Brenda.
Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Good morning. So I'm retired. I'm a former Marine, and was a Marine in the Marine Corps for 4 years as a military police officer and SWAT team guy, or SRT, what we called it. And then I joined the Army and joined the dark side of the force. And I was in the Army until 2018, where I retired. I was a military police officer and then a recruiter. So for all the people out there that have jokes about recruiters, I've heard quite a few. So yeah, I retired in 2018 and then started a company. And then this one here,
I joined a little later in life. Good morning, everyone. I joined at 33. I joined the military as a single mom of 2 young kids. I needed something. So for anyone watching, I needed something for my kids and myself. And so I joined the military in 2010. I am at almost 10 years in now. And by trade, I'm a human resources admin person. I've done a lot through my career, though. The highlight of my career has definitely been a Life Fit instructor here in Indiana. And I was full-time fitness and nutrition instructor for our soldiers here in Indiana who were having trouble with their physical fitness test and not knowing really how to properly eat because, of course, we know the Army DFACs are a little different than the Air Force cafeterias. So yes, that was definitely the highlight of my career. But, you know, I'm 10 years in, halfway there, and I'm full-time here in Indiana National Guard as AGR, and I love it. I really enjoy what I do.
Awesome. Well, Courtney, knowing that, because that wasn't in any of our pre-conversations, you and I are going to have to be on a Military Mondays just ourselves, because I want people to understand that if they are later in life, single mom or that, how do they even go about that? So you and I will have another discussion on that one.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah,
great education.
Let's do it.
I think she's Wonder Woman. I mean, even we had just started dating when she decided to join. And
you told me no.
I said no. What are you thinking? Like you can't join. You have two. I said it. You have 2 small kids, and we just started dating. What? And she's like, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm gonna do it. Either you're gonna put me in, or I'm gonna go in the office, and one of your buddies is gonna put me in. So who's gonna do it? I'm like, oh my gosh, I have no choice. Okay, well, so I told my boss. And he laughed his butt off. And then we put her in like a month later.
Yeah. So we'll set that up. It's definitely, I would love to be able to talk to other women and help them out if they are looking for a little direction or advice. So
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, because, and we'll talk a little bit more about this when you and I do the interview, but I actually got out of the service for a while to be a wife and a mom. And when I went through a divorce and had 2 kids, I got back in. So I'm sure we'll have some interesting conversations on that one.
So,
for
sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Warrior Coffee. As you and I were talking, the two of you and I were talking, there's a whole story behind Warrior Coffee and and the people who started it and why you started it.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the story behind Hoosier Warrior Coffee is back in, so at the time we started, it had been a couple years, but honestly, back in probably 2016, our best friend, Brian, and him and Alan have known each other since little kids. So Brian served with another gentleman named Andy. And so we have actually never met Andy or his lovely wife, Carrie, just, talked on social media. But so Andy said, hey, I want to back a veteran company. Mm-hmm. And Brian and Alan were talking and they all wanted to do something for themselves. You know how it is. You want to be your own business owner, but the military,
kind of gets in the way of that.
It's kind of hard sometimes with your operational tempo. So they talked about it for a few years. And fast forward to 2019, I was down on convalescent leave, had major hip surgery. And so I was literally down. I couldn't walk or anything. And Alan was home taking care of me, of course, because he had been retired at the time. And Brian would come down and hang out with us. And they kept talking, well, we want to start our own company and Andy's ready to do it, but we don't know what to do. And no joke,
sick and tired of
this may sound harsh to anybody watching, but again, I was down. I was a little upset because I couldn't do anything, but I'm sitting there on the couch and I looked at him and I said, let me tell you guys something right now. They said, what? Because they're used to me and my A personality.
She's pretty foreign.
And I said, here's the deal. I'm sick of hearing about it. If Andy said he's going to back it, then make a plan, make it happen, or I don't ever want to hear another word about it again. I'm sick of it. I have been listening to this for years. Do it or don't do it. And they just go.
Brian and I looked at each other and we were like,
seriously? Okay. Are you sure? Yeah. Yes, I'm sure. Like, quit talking. Let's do it. Let's, what's the saying, be about it or whatever.
Right.
Let's do it. And from that conversation to the time we opened was less than 45 days.
Yeah. Awesome.
We got everything going. So came up with the business plan and move forward.
Yeah.
Fast.
Awesome. So you mentioned at the beginning, the tempo of being in the military and owning your own business, they don't necessarily go together, but let's talk about that and the skills that the military though bring to the table to own their own business and go off and do their own thing versus we talked about this ahead of time, Alan and Courtney, about how we tend, those of us, Alan and I, who have retired, the majority of people tend to step into government jobs or stay inside the comfort zone.
Right.
And they have such unique skills that they could tap into. So let's talk about those. What are some of those skills that you think makes a military member especially really well suited to own their own business?
Most of the outstanding soldiers, sailors, and Marines and airmen that I know, they're all self-starters, right? Mm-hmm. You have to be a self-starter in order to be successful in the military. And one of those for me, being a recruiter, that was number one. You have to be a self-starter. You have to be able to, to me, a best part of the team are self-starters and people that can accomplish tasks on their own. And when they put those together with everybody else, it works out in their favor. So some of the skills that I had were sales and being able to talk to people. Another one was, the love of coffee. I mean, because it's just fantastic. Go ahead, Nene.
For me, I think my side of it, I'm the human resources side. And then Andy and Brian bring a lot of strengths to the table, from the officer side of the house. So they're leaders. From a military perspective, I would definitely say the discipline.
Discipline, for sure.
And this may sound silly, but we know how to work when we're tired and exhausted. We don't stop. You don't stop until the mission's done. And so our opening weekend, I actually had drill because being full time, we still drill with our traditional soldiers. And, there were 16-hour days, but for military, we're used to that. So not stopping when you're tired is a big one. And knowing you have a mission to do, it's ingrained in us, you accomplish the mission. And
right.
So for anybody who's looking to start their own business, if you're disciplined, of course, being military, you're going to be disciplined.
Drive determination. And whether it, hopefully it's coffee, but whatever it is, you don't stop just because you get tired. Right.
Those things are going to help you be very successful.
Absolutely.
You find a way
exactly
to break through and get it done.
Exactly.
Never give up. You can't.
You can't.
We're used to playing in the gray areas, right? So, like civilians really see things, black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Military, there's a whole lot of gray, right?
Yep.
And if we've got to fit that square peg in the round hole, by God, we're going to find a way.
We're going to do it.
We are going to find a way. And if it doesn't work well,
you're going to take a chisel and chisel off the corners and make it happen.
And a lot of people don't realize, like soldiers, sailors, Marine airmen, they don't realize the type of problem-solving skills they develop in the military. It's uncanny. I would rather work with a vet, and I love my civilians. I love all you guys. It has nothing to do. This is not a knock.
Yeah.
But if you're in the military for any sort of time, you're going to be placed in situations where you're going to have to come up with a solution. Regardless of what it is, you will have to come up with a solution to hard problems. And thinking outside the box is just, it's ingrained in you after you're in for a certain amount of time. It just is.
So you talked about, coffee, and you got to love coffee. And you and I had a conversation. I'm not a coffee lover, but my husband is.
Right.
And this really came about, this whole idea came about because of a deployment or several deployments. So tell us about that.
Right.
The white can.
So Andy and Brian, they were pilots, and they've been to the Middle East a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And on my deployments, we had this white can, right? It said, in black letters, said coffee on it. It was the most god-awful thing that you could possibly imagine. So we would find ways, or I would find ways when I was overseas to spice it up or to make it a little better. And the guys, and Andy and Brian and Carrie, all did the same thing. So I also love cigars, but I don't know anything about how to make a cigar. I can make a great pot of coffee, right? We can make some great coffee, but I can't hand roll a cigar. So to me, coffee was the logical choice. And most everybody that I know in the military loves coffee. They just do.
Yeah, I'm an oddball. I know.
I know.
Well, funny, I did not drink coffee either before we started this business. So I was right there with you, and our soldiers would make fun of us. They go, how do you not drink coffee? I just don't. But we started the business, and I said, well, I should probably give this coffee a shot. Cause I had tried, of course, the old Folgers and Maxwell Health that Daddy would have at the house. And I said, man, how do you drink this? This is terrible. And Daddy was in the Navy. So same thing. He goes, well, you just drink what you have. And I tried this, and I said, oh my God, it's so good. Like there's no bitter aftertaste, and it's a gourmet coffee, and it was amazing. And now I got to have it every day.
Right.
So I know that you went and grabbed a few bags to show us.
Yeah.
So...
I grabbed actually our fall flavor. And, we have a running joke because every year, like, pumpkin spice is the thing. Right. And we call them basic, so this is our fall blend here. It's called Basic Training. And it's a pumpkin spice, and it's just really smooth. It's a Brazilian nut, or bean rather, which just adds to the flavor. Yeah, it's incredible. Now I'm not like a spiced coffee type guy. I'm just not. But I'll tell you, the first time I had this, I was like, man, I might become a basic bro after drinking this, because it's so smooth, and the pumpkin taste. It reminded me of like Thanksgiving afternoon and a slice of pumpkin pie, because that's my favorite. So it was just really smooth. The Brazilian nut is just fantastic, and it's full of flavor. So,
and the name, we had to play on the
we had to play on the basic.
Had
so basic training.
And
yeah, awesome.
Girls in the fall.
And so the logo, we talked about it before we went live this morning. Tell us about the logo and how you came up with the logo.
Okay, so we knew we wanted to do a shield, right? So the logo obviously is the state flag, or our flag, the American flag, and then a state flag, which I think Indiana's flag is just a beautiful flag, blue and gold. And then the black in the shield represents honoring our fallen brothers and sisters in arms. And then if you see the stars here, there's 2 gray stars and 3 blue ones. The gray stars represent Brian and I as we're retired. And then the blue stars are Courtney, Carrie, and Andy, because they're still in. So, and then the Hoosier Warrior, we picked Hoosier because of the Hoosier hospitality. Anybody that's ever been to Indiana knows that Hoosiers are, for the most part, just very kind people. And that's what we wanted to convey in our coffee. And warrior, everybody's a warrior. Everybody goes through trials and tribulations. Every single person that I know has something going on in their life at one point or another, and we have to battle back. So that's the warrior part of our coffee and of our logo.
Awesome. And so we'll have to have a few maybe Military Mondays with you guys, because we're already at about 17 minutes, but I do want to talk about one more thing, and that is, you just mentioned it when you were talking about the stars. So it's unique in that you've partnered together with a few of your buddies that are currently serving or have retired. But what I found really unique about your company is it's not just the guys, the women have served too. It's 3 military couples who have come together to form this company, which is pretty cool.
I think it's amazing, right? Carrie's a pilot. Courtney is an admin, and
someone has to keep your paperwork.
But hey,
straight.
Yeah,
I know my place. It's okay.
Somebody has to run the unit.
She takes care of the beans, bullets, and band-aids, and that's the most important part. Because without that stuff, we ain't doing anything in the field. That's just how it is. So. And
Carrie is she's amazing as a pilot. She's set the bar really high, and someone that everyone can really look up to too. So
yeah,
3 very strong families.
And they just gave birth. They just had a baby. Congratulations, Andy and Carrie. Their second baby. So yeah, right after the hurricane hit.
Oh wow.
Yeah, right after. So.
Wow. So obviously I've tagged Hoosier Warrior Coffee in the post, but how do they get a hold of you guys? How do they get coffee? Do you ship it outside of Indiana?
We do. So we have our website is HoosierWarriorCoffee.com, and they can order directly from there. We also have Coffee Club on there, so you can pick, how often you want it just automatically shipped to you. We definitely ship outside Indiana. We ship nationwide, of course, and then we ship actually worldwide. We're in 4 different countries right now. And one thing to definitely highlight is for any of our deployed military, we as a company cover the shipping for our deployed military. So again, our website's HoosierWarriorCoffee.com. And then on our Facebook page at Hoosier Warrior Coffee, if they send us a private message, that's where we take orders to say, hey, if they want to send to deployed soldiers, give us the information there. That way we have the running conversation. Sorry, our dog just went nuts. That way we have that conversation. That way we can ship and keep our brothers and sisters that are around the world fueled as well.
Yeah. And we cover and we cover the
shipping on
we cover the shipping cost.
Yeah.
So
awesome. And thank you so much for being on today. Very unique situation with the 3 couples, and it's been a pleasure getting to know you. And we'll have to have a few more. Courtney, you and I definitely need to schedule
for sure
for in the next month after you get moved in, because I have to tell my viewers, these guys are troopers. Get it done. They're actually moving today, and they still showed up. And we're on my Military Mondays. So I really appreciate you taking the time out of moving all those boxes. I'm glad I could give you a reprieve for a little bit.
Thank you so much, Brenda.
Thank you so much, Brenda.
Oh, you're welcome. And so for anybody watching, if you found value in this, please share it with your network. Let's get the word out about Hoosier Warrior Coffee so that we go, instead of just in 4 countries, let's get across the globe in lots of countries.
Yes.
And let's get the word out about them. And if you are a veteran business owner yourself, or maybe you're currently serving, or you're the spouse and your spouse is serving, but you have a business, I'd love to have a conversation with you and maybe highlight you on my Military Mondays. So with that, everyone, thanks so much for joining me today. And I look forward to seeing you next Monday on Military Mondays. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.